Hi everybody, I just wanted to share with you my experience of using the DJI Mavic Air for about 2 weeks. Now, before I start with the list, I just want to tell you that you're watching this footage over my flight in Jerusalem. So if you can notice in the background, you see the Dome of the Rock and Old Jerusalem and sort of all that stuff. Now, I didn't go close because you're not allowed to, but it's as far as I felt comfortable flying the drone. Now, also, I'll preface this by saying that this drone is absolutely superb. I love it. It's one of the better products that I've used in a while. It's well designed, well engineered. Now, if you watch my previous videos, you'll know that this drone was my brother's. So I didn't pay for it. But if I had the money, and actually I'm seriously thinking of getting one, I would get it. But like any other product, it's not perfect. And this is what I learned after 2 weeks of using it. And let's start. So one, to turn it on, and it's not a minus, it's just an observation. You have to press the button, the light goes on, and then you have to press it again until all the dots fill, and then the device turns on. This goes for the drone and the remote. Two, the sport mode disables everything, all the obstacle avoidance technologies. So be very careful with it. If you forget it and you start landing it, you could potentially cause a lot of damage to people and to other stuff. So be very conscious when you land it, to make sure that you know that it's in sports mode. And if you can keep it in sports mode and land it, but just make sure you are aware, because this thing is unbelievably fast. Three, there are no side detectors. So most of the autonomous quick shots can, and they will hit stuff if they are in the way from the side. So my suggestion is to practice those in an open field first to get the feel of the of how they maneuver when you start them. Four, it takes a long time to get it going at first. A lot of firmware updates, and when you get it, prepare to spend at least an hour, if not more. I think it was actually more than an hour of doing firmware updates and software updates, and it took a long time. So if you just got it and you think, hey, let's go on a trip and use it right there, no, you have to prepare it first. But after you do this first time, it should be pretty quick for the next times. Five, the micro SD slot location is just horrible. It's a little bit indented, so it's very hard to get the card out. And if you have like thick fingers, I would suggest you get like tweezers and stuff or something like that, because one, the USB connection is slow and you have to keep the drone on, so that's not a good way to remove the files from the drone. The best and fastest way is to remove the micro SD card and put in a card reader. It's one of those things that I think they could have designed it better. Six, the battery can only be removed when the wings are open. It's kind of annoying. I think they could have designed the battery latches to be in a position where they're still accessible when the wings are closed. But it's one of those things, Seven, when in sport mode, the camera gimbal doesn't have enough travel to keep the horizon in view. So if you notice, when I stop and then push forward in sports mode, you would see that the viewing angle goes down. And I'm not sure they could have prevented this, because even if the gimbal had more travel, it perhaps would just shoot the propellers. So it's something that perhaps DJI couldn't have avoided, but this is something you need to know, that this happens when you're in sports mode. Eight, if you lose one motor, prepare to say goodbye to your investment. There's no fail-safe here. So if one of the motors suddenly stops working or kind of has a technical issue, this drone is going down. So it's one of those things for quadcopters that there's no fail-safe. 9. It doesn't have a rock solid connection like the Mavic Pro, but don't get me wrong, I think that it's still great, but it's not the Mavic Pro. 10. It comes with a great bag for the drone. However, I wish that the bag was designed to accommodate the remote too. So my brother, I decided to surprise him, so I sent him a bag that could hold the drone and the other accessories and the remote in one bag. I think it's something that you would probably buy afterwards as well. So my final conclusion, if you have the money, don't hesitate. This is a superb drone. Amazing. 4K at 30 frames per second, 2.7K at 60 frames per second, and 1080p at 120 frames per second, which allows you to do some sort of slow motion stuff, and it's just amazing. The battery life is good too. At 21 minutes, it seems like not a lot of time, but to be honest, I've never felt like I needed more time. Bear in mind that for all practical uses, you need to land when the battery is at about 25 to 30% left. That's to extend the battery life. So in practical use, you have about 16 minutes of solid air time, which I've never found that I needed more for a single, flight. Plus, you can also get extra batteries. Now, they're a little expensive at about $80. I hope that the prices go down on the batteries. Now, another thing that I'm really impressed with this drone is how rock solid it is with wind. It will actually be okay with winds up to 20 miles per hour, and it will keep steady shots. It's amazing. It's almost like it's on a pole, and when you move it, it's almost like you're pulling a wire, and it's just so steady. You just have to see it to believe it. Anyway, this was my observation of using the drone for 2 weeks, and I just love it. I'm probably going to get one for myself. In the meanwhile, I ordered the Spark because I'm not ready to spend so much money on a drone. But if you have any questions or comments, I really learned a lot about this drone, and I could answer a lot of questions for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Enjoy the rest of the video.